Hello. This is the beginning of the video series on Chapter 4 for hands-on virtual computing. In this chapter, we're going to be discussing data center virtualization and the beginnings of cloud computing. These are subjects we will also come back to repeatedly over the next several weeks. We'll touch on data center virtualization again once we talk about the virtual machine manager with Hyper-V. And then we're going to spend a couple weeks with vCenter and vMotion, things like that in the VMware data center before finally getting to cloud computing again in Chapter 10. What we're going to do here, as we've kind of done in the past, Chapter 1 set the foundation for the whole course, and then we started working on desktop virtualization a bit. We covered Hyper-V and VirtualBox. VirtualBox and VMware Workstation. We're going to do Hyper-V next. Hyper-V was really always a data center virtualization product, which has been moved back to the desktop from its origins in the data center and the server farm. So that's why we're kind of jumping from VirtualBox to VMware Workstation to data center to Hyper-V to Hyper-V VMM, and then on to vSphere and vCenter. So what we're going to do this week is we're going to talk about the need for virtualization in the data center and in the cloud. Most obviously, the cloud is a composite of data centers. We're going to talk about the hardware differences between and the performance differences between VMware's data center solutions and Microsoft's Hyper-V data center solutions. We're going to talk about VMFS. We're going to talk about NTFS. Now, as we're talking about NTFS and that sort of thing, remember back to your server course and talking about NTFS and REFS and all of that. We're going to talk about data storage in the data center with both of these class leader major vendors, data center virtualization solutions. Then we're going to talk about what networking looks like in the data center. The truth is that a data center is likely to have more than one network. It may have a front-side network for your servers and a back-end network for management, and a sideband, shall we say, or another back-end network for storage. So the network data, the data center network is several networks working together. We're going to talk about the major components: virtual switches, port groups, virtual adapters, NIC teaming. Some of this we've also covered before a little bit and you may have even heard about some of this in, say, your TCP/IP course, or when talking about, say, Ether channel. If we're talking about Ether channel or NIC teaming, we're more or less talking about the same thing, depending on whether you're talking about switches to switches or switches to end devices. So you should expect to find a lot of things you've already learned coming into focus here as we find new uses for old information. And then, so that's what we're going to be talking about this week. Now, this is a long video series. I crunched the numbers. There are approximately 20 videos in this series. I'm going to try to make each of them as short as possible, but there's really no way to shorten some of these sections too much without breaking them up and making them confusing them. So sit back, get comfortable. If you can't watch them all at once, that's okay. Find the time to watch them when it becomes available. So I'll be right back.